performance student, and this is his last semester, and he chose a topic which is a hot topic in our area, and actually this is protein and exercise. And this is a very hot topic that brought up the attention of a lot of scientists in the world because all the athletes need protein to be able to do their exercise.
Hey, I am Gavin. I play women's basketball for Jacksonville State. So come to the game. I'm number 22. So today my presentation will be about protein in collegiate athletes. So we're gonna get started. So to introduce my topic, individuals who expend significant amounts of energy, such as athletes, must be aware of their energy requirements and should be diligent about matching these levels with adequate dietary intake to avoid a state of negative energy balance. And so there are 7 main components of nutrition, which you have your protein, you have your carbohydrates, you have your amino acids, you have your fats, your fiber, your micronutrients, and then you have water. And even though there are many components of nutrition, my main focus today will be on protein. Okay, so the purpose of my research is to talk about how it can enhance performance in endurance and resistance training athletes, the benefits of protein for collegiate athletes, and then how collegiate athletes should consider protein intake on a daily basis, and how athletes should know when and how much protein to consume. And as you can see, consuming protein is recommended like 15 to 60 minutes after exercising. Okay, so protein helps repair and rebuild skeletal muscle and connective tissues. Adequate protein intake and timing of intake are critical to any athlete, whether endurance or resistance training. You have different sources of protein. You have your milk-based protein, which is whey and casein. You have eggs, you have lean beef, you have chicken, and you have nuts. So when it comes to like the milk-based protein, the casein is about 80% of the protein. And it's also a major protein in cheese. Whey is about 20% of protein, and whey protein is also considered a high-value product rich in nutritional properties. With this graph, it just shows like your different sources of protein and how much each serving size consists of like grams of protein. So many foods contain protein, but high quality protein comes from beef, poultry, fish, eggs, milk, and other dairy products. And then you have your plant-based protein, which includes soy and soy products, beans, nuts, and seeds. And so for people who don't know what to consume to get enough protein, I have some examples. You can consume like oatmeal. 1 cup of oatmeal contains like 7 grams of protein, and if you add like 3-4 cups of 1% milk and half a cup of almonds, that will all equal up to like 20 grams of protein. And then you have like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, just to keep it simple. So 1 slice of whole wheat bread and 2 tablespoons of peanut butter gives you like 13 grams of protein. So anybody really could like consume, the oatmeal, the peanut butter and jelly. You don't have to be, active. If you just need protein in your life, then those are 2 easy things right there. The timing of your intake of protein is really important. So whey protein ingested closer to resistance training promotes MTR, and then you have your protein consumed directly after resistance exercise helps to promote a positive muscle protein balance. And then the optimal time period during which to ingest protein is likely a matter of individual tolerance. So like the consumption of high quality protein maximizes muscle protein synthesis rates for 3 to 4 hours after exercise. The recommended intake is also important because too much protein could make you feel like bloated, heavy. So consuming like 1.4 to 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, and then the higher daily protein intake may be needed to ensure an anabolic environment. And so things to consider when consuming protein is the age, your body composition. So body composition is basically if you consume a lot of protein, then you're going to be bulkier. If you don't add uh, the resistance training or if you don't add exercise with it, then it's gonna make you bigger. It's not gonna do what it's supposed to. It's all based on how much you consume. And then you have volume of exercise, you have total energy intake, and then it's the training status of the athlete. So next we're gonna talk about the protein and resistance training. And so basically, muscle is made primarily of protein. High protein intake can help you gain muscle mass and strength while reducing muscle loss during weight loss. And then lean body mass includes the weight of all organs, skin, bones, and water. There are three major groups of muscle. So you have your smooth, which is like your stomach, your intestines, like internal linings, and then you have your skeletal, which is like your big muscle groups such as like your quads, your hamstrings, your tricep, bicep, and then you have your cardiac, which is your heart. And so when people talk about gaining muscle or building their muscle mass, what they're really talking about is gaining or building their skeletal muscle mass. Because out of those three muscle groups, the skeletal muscle mass is like the only one that you can actively grow and develop through proper exercise and nutrition. For protein and endurance training helps improve energy and stamina by increasing aerobic capacity. Approximately 1 to 6% of the energy used by muscles to fuel endurance exercises comes from amino acids. Research regarding the effects of protein on endurance performance is limited because when you think about endurance, like how they fuel their muscles is from the carbohydrates. So people who are training for endurance, the only reason they consume protein is just like for recovery. So even though consuming carbs is vital for endurance athletes, protein is just as important, specifically for maintenance, repair, and growth of lean muscle mass. And then low dietary protein lengthens the recovery time, causing muscle weakness and suppresses the immune system. So even though it's vital for them to consume a lot of carbohydrates to fuel their muscles, if they don't get enough protein, then they can't, like I said, their recovery will be longer, which will also cause injuries and it won't help with their muscles. Chronic protein deficiency will basically cancel the beneficial effects of their workout. So if the body isn't like recovered in the way it's supposed to, then the workout was basically pointless. So to summarize my research, protein is crucial for muscle growth because it helps repair and maintain muscle tissue. Evidence suggests that higher protein intake can have positive effects on body composition, depending on how you use it. And then adequate studies regarding the timing of protein ingestion and how it affects strength are still developing. And so to conclude my presentation, a sound nutritional plan is essential for achieving and maintaining optimal athletic performance. Adequate protein intake and time of intake are critical to any athlete, whether endurance or resistance training, and collegiate athletes participate at high performances, and proper nutrition intake helps to replenish what they lost. I would like to thank Dr. K and Dr. Hill for giving me an opportunity to present today at the JSU Student Symposium. Are there any questions?
What do you eat before a game?
Well, if it's breakfast, I'll probably eat like egg white on an English muffin. That's something you can get at Chick-fil-A. So I would eat that. I would replace the hash browns with fruit, or if I don't want to eat any food, depending on like what time I wake up, I might just consume like orange juice or something like that. Something that can give me like some sugar, some energy. So yeah. Oh, and then if it's like a late game, then I might eat I usually eat Subway, and so I get like a chicken bacon ranch on wheat toast, and I add like vegetables. So I add like spinach, bell peppers, olives. I still have my mayo, my honey mustard, my ranch. You know, I gotta have a little something, but you know, just things like that. Things that can turn into carbs that can like fuel my muscles as I get ready to like play
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Just wondering, like, you did this review or research, so what are the impacts, like when any athletes fail to keep the requirement of taking sufficient or necessary input, protein input for the body?
Hey, can you repeat your question? It was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah, just like the impact, you know, what's the impact if any athletes are not taking like
What are the
sufficient
adverse effects
protein?
of not taking enough protein?
What's the effect in the body?
So basically, consuming protein is well. I'm gonna use myself as an example since I am a collegiate athlete. During the preseason, like before, like during the summer and stuff, when I'm working out, getting ready for my season, I consume a high intake of protein just to keep my body lean. And since that's when I work out the hardest, that's also good for my recovery. And since like right now we're in like towards the end of our season, so my body is like really fatigued. I'm really tired. My muscles are tight, so it's very important that I consume like a lot of protein now because I've broken down my muscles, so to prevent injury, to have some type of energy, I'll go consume like a core power, like 42 grams. I might drink half in the morning and then just drink the rest at night after practice or something like that. So it honestly, it just depends on where you are when it comes to like your workout plan, stuff like that.
Do you have time to ask one more question?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So one more thing, like when you go to university gym or anywhere gym, so I see a lot of people who are doing the exercise. Right after the exercise, they are taking the protein shake. You understand? So, like taking protein with food or shake, like do you have any idea like what's actually happening? Protein shake is directly just like giving the body what type of
I would say like it depends on how they made the protein shake because you can make a protein shake with just you know the you have supplements and then you have the natural sources. So it honestly it depends. I saw something that said there really isn't a difference in the natural sources of protein and then the supplements. I think it is. I personally like natural sources of protein, and so I think, like I said, it takes like you want to consume your protein after workout 15 to 60 minutes because I think there's like a time cap or like the synthesis that your body is going through after your workout. So it would be best to consume then just to go ahead and like replenish your muscles, replenish the broken down muscles that you have torn in your workout.
thank you.
Yes, that's a great question. Actually, 2 hours after doing the exercise is the best time to take a protein. But the first 30 minutes after that is the golden time because the body has the highest capacity to absorb that protein. And what protein does is that it improves the body composition, it improves the muscle mass,